For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Texas rise?
Madam Speaker, I have a motion to recommit at the desk.
Is the gentlewoman opposed to the bill?
I am in its current form.
The gentlewoman qualifies. The clerk will report the motion.
Ms. Granger of Texas moves to recommit the bill, H.R. 2157, to the Committee on Appropriations with instructions to report the same back to the House forthwith.
The clerk will suspend. For what purpose does the gentleman from Indiana seek recognition?
I reserve a point of order on the gentlewoman's motion.
Point of order is reserved. The clerk will read.
With the following amendment, page 50, line 3, after the dollar amount, insert increased by $2,880,000,000.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
Madam Speaker, my motion amends the bill by adding the additional $2.88 billion the administration has said is needed to care for the unaccompanied children that continue to flood our southern border. I'm offering this motion because the bill we are considering today does not address the need. The funding in this motion is just one piece of what is needed to respond to this crisis. The children who come across our border without a parent become the responsibility of our federal government. As of the end of April, nearly 13,000 unaccompanied children were in the care of the United States Department of Health and Human Services. We're told that if these trends continue, the department will soon run out of funds to care for these children and face Anti-Deficiency Act violations. The gentleman from Texas, Mr. Hurd, offered this same amendment in a full committee markup of the Labor, Health, and Human Services Appropriation Bill just 2 days ago. At that time, the chair told us that the amendment would not be supported because we could not wait for a regular appropriations bill to be enacted. We were told this funding was needed now. By including the funds in this emergency supplemental bill, we will do just that. We're giving our colleagues on the other side of the aisle another opportunity today to provide the funding necessary to continue to care for these children. Whatever our positions may be on border security, I think we can all agree that we have a responsibility to ensure that our agencies have sufficient funding to do what we have asked them to do. I urge a yes vote on the motion, and I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentlewoman yields back. Does the gentleman from Indiana withdraw his reservation?
Madam Speaker, I withdraw my reservation.
Reservation withdrawn. For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Connecticut seek recognition?
I rise in opposition to this motion to recommit. The administration
The gentlewoman is recognized for 5 minutes.
House is not in order. House is not in order.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
The administration submitted a supplemental request last week for an additional $2.9 billion in emergency appropriations for the Unaccompanied Children program. We are carefully reviewing that request. We expect the administration to provide further details about the proposed use of those funds. We have had bicameral, bipartisan meetings to get more details on the request, and we expect that in the next several days. But we need additional information from the administration before we can sign off on this request. How many children are expected to be referred by Customs and Border Patrol over the next few months? What kind of shelter beds are we paying for with the $2.9 billion? Let's be clear, there are child welfare differences, major cost differences between traditional beds, which are $250 a night, or soft-sided dormitories, or brick and mortar influx shelters, which run from $750 to $1,250 per bed per day. Does the estimate include appropriate on-site mental health professionals, clinicians for facilities, so that the children have access to the services they are legally required to have, and we know they have been wanting in those services? These staffing ratios are critical, as are legal services, child advocates for the most vulnerable children in ORR's care. We need to know if these costs have been included in OMB's estimate. I want to assure my colleagues we are taking this request seriously, but you should not be fooled. This bill is not the right vehicle. It is the wrong bill for the unaccompanied children program. This motion to recommit does not provide funding for unaccompanied children. It adds 2.9 to the account for Head Start. And my friends, you should have been with us in the appropriations bill on labor HHS just 2 days ago. They had a chance to vote for $4.5 billion for child care, for child welfare. They said no. They said no to this. So don't be fooled by this. And keeping in mind, this is a one-year anniversary of their child abuse policy to separate our kids at the border. You want to know about unaccompanied kids? You should have cared for them last year and every day since. Vote no on the motion to recommit. I yield now to the gentlewoman from Iowa, Ms. Axne.
The House will be in order. Members are reminded to direct their remarks to the chair.
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, passing this disaster supplemental is vital to any community that suffered from disasters over these last 18 months. But I rise today to talk about one community, mine, Iowa's 3rd Congressional District. Entire towns were underwater. Many Iowans have had their homes, small businesses, and family farms destroyed. Medical centers and schools face irreparable damage and may never be able to reopen their doors again. Parents are worried about where they're going to be able to send their kids to school, and the lasting impacts on the health and well-being of Iowa families and our rural communities is beyond calculation. I've been to our flood zones multiple times to speak to farmers, homeowners, and business owners who've lost everything. Their resilience is inspiring, but the damage is devastating. And Iowans are hardworking, tax-paying Americans. This motion to recommit is playing partisan politics with people's lives, and it's unacceptable. I helped Lizzie Young and her family muck out their house. David Luth, a farmer from Percival, has been kayaking out to view his fields. And Fran Mirzwa from Pacific Junction had her house underwater for almost 2 months. Grape Community Hospital in Hamburg, the only rural hospital in the area, had to bring in military-operated water tanks just to keep its doors open for basic services. And now, because they're standing up for their community, they're providing space for small businesses to operate in hopes that those businesses don't leave the area so that community doesn't die. If this motion to recommit passes, it will if this motion to recommit passes,
The House will be in order.
if this motion to recommit passes, this disaster funding will keep moving that forward.
The House will be in order.
If this
gentlewoman
motion
is
to
recognized.
recommit passes, it will prevent the disaster funding from moving forward. A yes vote is to tell Iowans and Americans to wait longer. A yes vote is a slap in the face to everybody across this country who's suffering from these disasters. I'm here to tell you—
The House will be in order.
I'm here to tell you, Iowans can't afford to wait. None of our constituents who've been impacted by floods, tornadoes, fires can afford to wait. I urge this body to stop making Americans wait, to vote down this motion to recommit, and to pass this bill.
Without objection, the previous
This bill will fund important agriculture recovery relief
The
programs.
question is on the recommit. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. The noes have
Madam
it.
Speaker,
The gentlewoman from Texas
I
is
asked for a
recognized.
recorded vote.
A recorded vote is requested. Those favoring a recorded vote will rise. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic devices. Pursuant to Clause 9 of Rule 20, this is a 5-minute vote. On the motion to recommit will be followed by 5-minute votes on the passage of the bill and agreeing to the Speaker's approval of the journal if ordered. This is a 5-minute vote.